Okay, thanks everybody. Thank you for sticking around. This is our last performance of the festival, and I just want to thank everybody for your time and joining us and celebrating with us in this crazy year. We can't wait to get back to Riverside Park next year, and we hope you'll all join us there again. So I'm lucky again to introduce our finale, which is Alexandra Del Dunn. Alexandra is an opera singer. She's born and raised in Guelph. Her background is Canadian Italian, and she was actually born deaf, but she is hearing now, and hopefully she'll explain that to us as we get into things. She sang with the Guelph Youth Singers and with the Canadian Children's Opera Company. She's also done opera in concert and at the Toronto Operetta Theatre. She's completed her graduate degree in historical performance at the University of Toronto this year, and she'll be performing with COSA, C-O-S-A, as a cosmetician number 2 in Pellége's opera The Art of Love. And she's performed with Vera Causa Opera in Waterloo in the production of Humperdinck's Hansel and Gretel as Gretel in November 2020. Other exciting news includes that she's joined the Amplified Opera in Toronto as a student intern, where she'll be helping to assist them with their upcoming projects. So welcome, Alexandra. Thank you for waiting, and I'll turn it over to you.
Hi, hello everyone. Thank you for having me. Yeah, so my name is Alexandra Delle Donne. I'm born and raised in Guelph, and I went and did a lot of my schooling in Toronto, Ontario, where I worked with teachers such as Christina Zabo and Daniel Taylor. Um, and just because the I was born deaf, it's kind of a funny story, but hearing problems run in my family, and for me, I somehow managed to sneak by those hearing tests when you're a baby. They just didn't catch it with me, and it wasn't until I was about 3 years old where they thought that something was up and took me to a doctor, and they're like, oh yeah, she can't hear anything. So it was through operations and going to my doctor that I was finally able to get my hearing back, and everyone was, I could say, a little more than surprised when I showed an interest in music and was like, I want to be a musician. Um, so that's kind of like a cool, funky little story. And yes, I did perform as the lead Gretel in Humperdinck's Hansel and Gretel with, they were Vera Causa Opera, they are now known as Fuse Opera. And that recording is actually still available on YouTube for everyone to enjoy and watch. It was a free performance. And yeah, so it's just been a very eventful year. I look forward to performing with COSA, with the brand new opera, Norbert Pallage's The Art of Love, and I am cosmetician number 2. Something super interesting about that is that they decided to do it in Latin, and not just any Latin. They're doing it in like traditional classical Latin, which is actually new for me. I've never had to sing in that language before, so I'm really excited to be a part of that and learn how it's all going to come together. And I'm also a part of COSA Creates, which is like a second little section where we put on concerts throughout the year. And we have 3 concerts so far that will be coming up. And the first one is Queen and Martyrs. And I'm really excited for that one. And more details on that to come. Yeah, and so we're going to be sharing some clips of mine today that I recorded and performed this year. The first one is actually a piece of me singing in Korean, and it is called The Maiden Picking Herbs. And essentially the gist of the piece is this maiden is literally picking herbs and like doing her garden work in the garden, and she kind of wishes she was doing something else, but she's being the dutiful daughter and the dutiful wife and just having to like pick away and do her chores. Yeah, so excited to share that one with you. And I don't know if that means I can. Yeah, there we go. And there you have it. That was the Maiden picking herbs. In that particular rendition, I decided to put my own little spin on it. So I added some ornaments that may not be typically heard in some other recordings, but hey, I wanted to have some fun with it. So the next couple of pieces we're going to be listening to are by a composer named Hans Pfitzner. And he's a really cool dude. No, not a lot of people know about him, and he's like really underrepresented. But I really enjoyed him a lot, and he was someone who really fought for people's rights, especially during World War II. He was such an advocate for people's voices, and he didn't let anyone kind of bully him around, and I think that's just so respectable. His music is kind of funny, and I remember my partner, my pianist, he had said to me, he's not the best composer, but it has charm. And I I will agree. I agree that his pieces are very charming. They're a little funky and they're kind of all over the place, but I really enjoyed singing these pieces, particularly for me, I'm what's known as a coloratura soprano. So essentially what that means is it's a very specific Fach type, so F-A-C-H, like Fach type. And it means that I can sing very high and I can sing very fast, which you'll see in this piece, in these two pieces that you're about to see, and also the grand finale aria that I will be showing you. It was definitely a lot of fun singing these ones, and the clip that you're about to see was a performance of my graduating final recital. So when you're in music, instead of having like a final thesis paper, they're like, nah, we're gonna make you learn about like 50 to 75 minutes of music. It has to be all completely memorized. You have to have at least 3 languages, and you need to sing it and put it all together in one final show. So what I ended up doing, just because we weren't allowed to have a live audience, is that my school, the historical department, put together this amazing opportunity where we could record ourselves in this beautiful hall, which was Trinity St. Paul. And we had a professional audio technician, and we had a professional camera gear, which actually happened to be my camera gear because I like to film. Yeah, and it really came together, and it was so wonderful. And another thing that was kind of funny is that I insisted on doing it all in one take. So I didn't want to like try and do redos. And part of that is that part of my costume actually started, my dress started slipping down a little bit, but I was like, no, I insisted on having a like live real performance because that's what I would have done if we were able to have people in person. So you might see me going like this from time to time, just like pulling up my strap, but hey, everyone has wardrobe malfunctions. So I'm very happy to introduce the next two pieces by Hans Pfitzner. There is Ich fürchte nicht Gespenster and Singt mein Schatz wie ein Fink.
Singt mein Schatz wie ein Fink, sing ich nur mit den Höllensohn. Bist du mein Lieb so ein Luchs? So bin ich eine Schlange. Frau Mindert, von Gewehr und Gesehen, und mir los mir den Schutz, denn sonst tut ihr mir weh. Il sol si unterwerfen zum Rat und Preis. Der soll sich nicht rühren, nicht laut und nicht leis. Ihr teuren Geschwirren, du lässt mir den stolzen Mann. Er soll sehen, wie die Liebe ein Volk schlägt, werden kann. Fürchte Gespenster, meine Hexen und Feen, und die Lebens in der Tiefen, Augen zu sehen. Im Wald, in dem grünen, unheimlichen See, da wohnet ein Nachtweib, das ist weiß wie der Schnee. Es heißt nur in der Schönheit, schuld ich jetzt wenn ich spät noch vorbeige, so zeigt es mit mir. Jagd aussettet Mondschein am Wasserstrand, wo sie ohne Schleier ohne alles gewahrt. Es schwammen ihre Glieder in der trockenen Nacht. Der Himmel war trocken von der höllischen Pracht. Aber ich hilflos meine Liebe Brust. Es hat mich mit Schande versinken gemusst.
Yeah, those are two very fun pieces. So the first one, the Zingt mein Schatz wie ein Fink, is super sassy. It is about this woman essentially being like, oh, so you think that you're a fink? Oh yeah, well I'm way better than you. I'm this kind of bird. Oh, if you're like this, I think you're a snake. I'm going to tell all the women in the land to not listen to you and that you need to respect women. It's so sassy. It's so fun. She's just like all over this guy, essentially being like, I'm not going to take any of your crap, so to speak. And it's really funny because the end is just like, I will, with my fiery sword, you will see. As that, which is just so much fun. She's like, oh, this is the kind of woman you would just not want to cross. And Ich fürcht nicht Gespenster. That one's also like, it also has a little bit of sass, but it's also kind of whimsical too. It's this kind of jealousy between one female woman, a young woman, and a ghost. And this ghost doesn't like how this woman is manipulating men, but this woman is like, "You're a ghost. You have no power here." And it's a very kind of interesting interaction between the two of them because they're trying to intimidate one another, but it doesn't go either way for any of them. Yeah, they're great pieces. They're like cute little short pieces. I absolutely enjoyed learning them and singing them. And Ivan Jovanovic, he is the pianist there. He did such a wonderful job. Yeah, and for anyone wondering like how I'm able to learn all these different languages, we take a course called IPA. It's the International Phonetic Alphabet. If you don't know what that is, when you go to a dictionary and you open it, there's little symbols next to the words. That's what IPA is. So it's essentially being taught to use IPA to be able to sing in another language without being fluent in it. So obviously, as a classical singer, we take these courses and we take other diction courses to help us hone in our craft and our pronunciation, but also learning the culture and understanding where these pieces come from. Like if you're singing an Italian piece, it's going to have a very different feel versus when you're singing a French piece. People also say that French is actually the most difficult because it has the most vowels. And as a Canadian and as an English speaker, we don't have a lot of the vowels that a French speaker would have, so it tends to be more difficult to be able to properly imitate. The next piece that we're going to be looking at is a Spanish piece by Obradors. He is such an amazing composer. He takes folk pieces and essentially just adds his own arrangement to them. So the piece you'll be hearing is Con Amarés la mi madre. And there's a couple of different interpretations to this piece, but the interpretation that I get from it is that a woman is singing about her mother, and her mother is sadly passing away. And the ending is a little ambiguous if she actually passes away or if she actually springs back up out of bed. So it depends on the person and what they feel, but woo, take a listen. Hopefully you like it. I love Spanish. It's great. Here you go.
Con amores la mi madre, con amores me dormí. Se dormida soñaba lo que el corazón me daba, que el amor me consolaba, con desvelo que me recí. Adorméceme, favor, mi amor me dio con amor. Dio descanso mi dolor. La fui con chi le serví. Con amores la mi madre, con amores me dormí.
Yeah, so that's it's a really fun piece. Something that's kind of interesting about singing Spanish repertoire is you'll sing it differently depending on where the composer is from. So if it's a Spanish piece, sometimes you'll do more of a th, like a lisp, like thon, because that's how they would speak it. But if you're, say, like from Colombia, you probably won't have a lisp. You'll be more like son or tion, or depending on the word. So that was something that was very interesting. And I actually have my aunt who is, she was born and raised in, or sorry, she was raised in Colombia, so she speaks Spanish, and that was something that she pointed out to me. She's like, is the composer from Spain? And I was like, yes. And she's like, okay, so you're gonna have more of a lisp then. And I was like, oh, that's like something very interesting to know. If you have not looked into classical Spanish repertoire, I strongly recommend it. The music is so interesting, it's so vibrant, and it just has a very distinct sound to it, which is something I really enjoy doing. And during my studies, studying historical music, and historical music essentially means that you're studying repertoire that was composed like 1750 and before. So composers that wrote during that time would be like Mozart, Handel, Bach, Purcell, Monteverdi, all of these different types of composers. But there are Spanish composers that wrote that early as well. And when they do early Spanish operas, they call them zarzuelas. They're very cool. They're very interesting pieces. I highly recommend checking them out. And yeah, so now we are at kind of the live performance where I'm going to sing one of my pieces for you. It is 100% a super coloratura piece. It's very high, lots of runs, lots of movement. I needed to build a lot of stamina to sing this because it took me a while, but it's great. Essentially, this is a Mozart concert aria, meaning that it doesn't actually belong to a specific opera. He just kind of wrote it, and sometimes, depending on the opera, they'll grab this piece and they'll kind of insert it in there if they want to. But my character, she is extremely angry because she has found out that her love has betrayed her and tricked her and doesn't actually love her. So now she's like, how dare you? You are ungrateful. You are unworthy of my love. I abhor you, and you must leave. You need to get out. Yeah, so we're going to snap today. Just give me one moment to kind of get everything set up, and it's going to, hopefully you like it. Okay. Wonderful. So we're going to give this a go, and hopefully everyone likes it, and hopefully I can be heard. Okay. No, 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 che non sei capace. D'onore, dico. And there you have it. That is the final piece for me tonight. Um, uh,
Alexandra, that was amazing.
thank you.
We just love it. We've gotten a ton of comments.
Oh my.
Um, so a lot of people love your sass. And they and the range and the control that you have. It's just you're amazing. I'm really impressed with your emoting and your facial expressions. I mean, it's just I can tell what exactly how you're feeling as a singer. It's wonderful. Um, I have a couple of questions we're asking about the languages and how difficult that must be. Like, have you actually find that you're learning the languages as well? Can you speak any of the languages you learn through your opera?
I'm personally not fluent in any of them, just English, but you become inspired by these different languages, and you definitely become inspired to learn them. Like for me, I took a first year level German course, and then I tried to keep up with it with Duolingo, and with Italian. Well, my parents are both Italian, so occasionally my mom will just like walk around the house and start speaking Italian, and I can pick up like every other word or so, and I'd be like, well, I'm learning. I'm getting there, but it's definitely an aspiration of mine to start like really learning these different languages. Just because they're so amazing, and why not? I sing in them every day. I should learn the language.
And you'll probably want to visit the countries as well, right? Because you're learning
Sure.
about the culture
Yeah.
as you're learning the music. Do you have a favorite type of opera, like Italian versus German versus Spanish?
My favorite type of music to sing, like in the classical genre, would be Italian early music. That
Yeah,
is definitely my niche.
that's great. Do you ever sing anything else? Do you ever sing like pop music? And that's one of the questions we had.
Yeah, I sing lots of different genres. I love pop music. I love jazz, musical theater. Yeah, I sing them all the time. I find that they're really fun way to kind of get rid of some stress.
Mm.
I find with classical music, though, I love it. I love classical repertoire. You're very focused on singing it the way the composer would have liked, and being very critical about every little thing you singing. But I find that with maybe pop music or jazz music, I can be a little more free. I don't have to always, sing the exact right rhythms or the exact melody that the pop singer originally sung it. So I love singing all different types of genre.
What do you like to listen to when you're not listening to opera? Who's on,
Yeah.
who's on your playlist?
Who's on my playlist? Oh my gosh. Who do I like? That's a really good question. Um, I actually really like this K-pop singer. Her name is Ailey.
Mhm.
I think she is incredible. I believe she was actually born in Vancouver, if I'm not mistaken, and then she's Korean. So then she went over to the Korean market, and she just has an incredible voice. I always call her like uh, kind of she's very comparable to like Christina Aguilera, like just really big chops.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I really enjoy her. I really enjoy Kelly Clarkson. She's another favorite of mine. Yeah, I like lots of different kinds of singers.
Powerful women singers are obviously must influence you, like the strong women like Kelly Clarkson. So yeah, that's great. Well, thank you. I think that's it for today. We just loved having you be our finale. You're just so engaging and so beautiful. Um,
Yeah.
and thank you. We really, and we hope maybe next year you can actually come and sing for us on the stage. We'd love
I
it.
would love to. I would
Yeah,
love to so much. Thank you so much for having me.
yeah. Good luck with your singing this year and all
Thank
your exciting
you.
things going on. And I just wanted to take a minute at the end here just to say thanks again to everybody for joining us this weekend. We had a great time. we had so many people hosting like myself, which is totally stepping out of my comfort zone. Lynn McKinty, she started us off on Friday and did a great job. So we wanted to thank her and hope we can have her back live again next year, as well as Lori and Anu and myself from the board, and everybody else, all the volunteers and the students and interns. It's just been fantastic. So thank you, everybody. Have a great evening and enjoy the summer, and stay safe. Thanks very much. Take care.